So right now with the pandemic going on, what keeps you motivated in your day-to-day life?
I still feel my purpose is still the same, and that is doing music, my own, and also working with other artists and bands, recording and developing and stuff like that, but mainly working on songs and songwriting and recording. And so I feel like in regards to that, my purpose is still there, my goals are still there, and my cause for living this life. So I feel like that keeps me driven. I think with like my whole message in music, it's about giving love, hope, joy, and positivity to people through music. Sometimes with songs, you can use them as an artist, as an outlet to, express yourself, even if something was painful or, angry or anything. But the whole point, I think the way I look at it is it's an outlet, or at least to try and give people a positive outcome and turn around any situation. So my purpose still feels complete, and I'm still pushing, just finding new ways to create and connect with people.
With your purpose in creating music, constantly creating content, what is your like typical day look like?
So I use something called Google Sheets, and just kind of laying out a schedule for myself. Day to day, it varies depending on if I'm doing remote sessions, writing, work for other artists, or working on my own music. For example, today I'm in the midst of preparing for playing a TV show tomorrow, and then I have multiple sessions coming up this weekend with 2 artists and 1 tomorrow, and then working with my music partner. He just sent me vocals for a single. I'm doing that, and then portions of a music video on Saturday as well. So it's planning that out, working out content for online, and like spending time on that and interacting with my friends and fans on there. And then also just planning and creating and making the space, for all these other things, various writing with other artists. And so, yeah, it stays busy, and not every day is the same.
I know you mentioned like you were like previously on the road a lot, touring. So with that like pre-COVID life, what are you looking like forward to most after all of this?
I feel like when we're able to do shows again, I look forward to putting together a really amazing, incredible live show that's very different from maybe how I was doing it before. My music has evolved and changed as an artist, and I think it'll be really exciting to be able to connect with people, because I really miss that aspect of connecting in person. But I also am so grateful for live streaming, because I've been able to connect with people who I normally wouldn't have, and still the fact that we have that technology. So I also miss traveling, because in between touring, I would, travel to record other artists, and I had multiple sessions canceled. And I look forward to traveling to Europe and Africa, and, working out there more. And yeah, so I'm looking forward to that.
So I know like you're a singer-songwriter, producer, engineer, etc. Sorry, speech impediment. So what is, all that being said, what is your workflow like, and does it change based on what you're doing?
I think it totally changes depending on the project. I think, I'll just use my music as an example. Oftentimes in the past, with the styles that I was writing, I was starting stuff out on the guitar, like on the acoustic guitar. And that's like helped, I guess, create the beginning of my songs a lot. And then I would record them and build the tracks from there. Or sometimes I would get some other like, you know, electric guitar drum ideas. But I've been really working on evolving my sound. So a lot of my songs now have been starting with samples and programming or MIDI progressions and building off of that, or coming up with a melody in my head and then singing it out on guitar, figuring out the notes, translating that to MIDI, and then putting in a keyboard. And I think, you know, applying to other artists working remotely, stuff, you know, will be everything from someone referencing songs and us starting with like the artist's acoustic guitar part and vocals to building, you know, drum parts and hiring other people to play other parts, and or me playing parts, and then, you know, hiring out other players. So I think there's a mix of all that, and I think it just depends on the artist.
With touring, I know that you've been on Van's Warped Tour. How was that experience? Like, how was performing on such a large festival?
I mean, it was amazing. I think my younger self, like in high school, like probably couldn't even dream that up. I think that would have been, I mean, that was such a dream, like, to even think, like, I think if I go back to high school and think about that, like the odds of like playing Warped Tour, because I remember seeing so many cool bands and being like, this is like so cool. So yeah, I feel really lucky. I got to play on the last Warped Tour. I got to play multiple cities and stages. I got to do like, you know, an official Ernie Ball stage, and I got to do a girls stage, and then I got to do a DIY stage. It was like full flavor of everything, and so fun. I'm so grateful for the experience.
You have your own label, a Diamond Heart production. So what drove you to create your own label, more specifically an artist development label?
When I was in music school, I was in school, I learned about a lot of just different jobs in the music business, and one was A&R and like artist development, and like I was so driven and interested in that aspect. I thought too initially when I was learning about the business that like, okay, like I'm gonna have to get a job, you know, while I'm building my music, so I might as well work in the music business, and I'd like to do like A&R stuff. And so, you know, I'd find these bands and just have this feeling about them, and then I'd see in a few years they get like totally big. And so I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna start a label. Specifically, I was working at a recording studio, and I just said to myself, I'm gonna start a label for myself and the other artists, to have a home and to have kind of like a mid place to go, that's better than putting stuff out themselves if they just want some additional help before they get to their next step, like having a manager or a booking agent, and just kind of help them get ready and get prepared. It's been really nice, you know, with the label to be able to help other artists and bands, because I feel like they can relate to me because I'm an artist too, and I've done it all in terms of touring. Like, so I understand where they're coming from. You know, I've put in that aspect of work. So I'm like a peer, but also understand the other side of the glass in terms of what they need to have all the pieces put together. Mind you, things are evolving and changing so rapidly with online social media and even this past year. So starting the label was something out of passion and just wanting to not sit around and wait for someone else to hear what I was hearing, but to just create it and create success on my own and for other artists that I believe in.
What is your best memory about your journey being in the music industry?
I booked a show I think it was at the Stone Pony in New Jersey. And at the time, my friend, his name was Reed Mullen, he passed away a year ago. He was in this hardcore band called Corrosion of Conformity, who really influenced and inspired a lot of hardcore and punk bands. I think he gave Dave Grohl his first record deal with one of his bands. So, you know, it was really inspiring. I met him at the studio I worked at, but he came and backed me with another friend for a couple tours. And I had this moment where I had booked all these tours and I had started out by just touring by myself around the US. And I had so many people be like, oh my God, you're a girl alone on the road. And I just felt like there was so much fear attached to what it's like to be out alone by yourself. But really the fear is greater than what actually it was. And I had this moment playing the Stone Pony where I was like, wow, I can't believe I created all this from just, you know, wanting to do this so bad. And then here I am at this show. It's like a really great show. And, you know, I've had all kinds of people pop into my life out of nowhere. And I felt just so grateful and so just so blessed. And it was really hard and scary at sometimes, you know, sometimes some of the struggles I went through, or like people just like trying to get me to get off the road and just, you know, and I was just like, no. And, you know, I got called homeless. It was just like all kinds of stuff. So that was a really big moment where I felt like things were going places. And and so I mean, those moments, there was so many of these little moments where I just be like, wow, I don't know how I got here, but I got here, and this is where I am sitting right now, and that's crazy.
Final question. Do you have any advice for those young artists, engineers, producers, or just anyone trying to get their feet wet in the industry?
You gotta like find a way to get in touch with you and who you are, and really tune in and listen and follow your heart, because that's what I feel like this is about. And sometimes, you know, with being in the business, you know, one can get pulled in so many different directions, or like, you know, things lost in translation with everyone having an opinion about something. And it really comes down to, it's like that quote for Field of Dreams. It's like, if you build it, they will come. And it's so true. Also something that I would always say, like on the road, I just started saying it because always I felt like I'd have someone who would say after that they really needed to hear that or really translate it. But like, the biggest risk you'll take is not taking a risk on yourself. So if you've been thinking about doing something in life, do it. Don't wait for anyone to give you an okay to do it. You know, go for it. Like, follow your heart, tell someone you love them, go for that job. It's scary, like, to quit stuff. It's scary to like let people go and get uncomfortable. But every time I've done that stuff, it's paid off. And because I was really trying to be in tune and listen. No one's perfect, but I think my advice is just to take risks, try and get really in tune to stuff, and don't listen to everything that everybody says.
This was an amazing chat that we just had. Thank you so much for finding the time and sitting down with me and talking with me about your life in the pandemic, your life in general.
You're so welcome, and thank you for sharing yourself, you know, and what you're doing as well, Rachel. And I'm wishing you so many blessings and such good luck, and follow your heart. And so stoked for you to be working with Mark and to keep going on, you know, your production and all of that. That's great.
Thank you so much. I just wanna be